Florida lineup. Sierra Humphreys leading it off at third base, and Samantha Ray, the second baseman, batting second. Shortstop Aubrey Evans, Beth Damon and her big stick in the four-hole. Izzy Mertes in right field. Stormy Kotzelneck in the 6, Ashley Griffin in the 7, Taylor Kittleman in the 8, and Madison Simon rounding out and the 9-hole. And Aubrey Evans coming off a good series against Baylor, 5 for 10 with a solo shot. There's a good look at Sam Landry, the senior, 3-time All-Sun Belt selection, has gotten off to a great start in a Sooner uniform this season. And first pitch underway as Humphreys takes it for a strike. Humphreys, just a sophomore, but has started every game for the Knights, hitting .381. The Corona, California native, and the thing that you notice about this Central Florida lineup, Destiny, they can do a little bit of everything. Power up and down, 1 through 9. Humphreys has some pop of her own, 3 bombs on the season. But the real threat on the base paths, 12 stolen bases on the year.
Yeah, that's incredible. I think, seeing an offense like this and giving them these opportunities to play in an environment like Love's Field, that is where you're going to find some of the challenging parts of this game. But I'm excited to see them really work through this.
Agbayani gloves it. Throw is going to take Sydney Sanders off the bag just a bit. And Humphreys is aboard for the Knights, and what will be ruled a leadoff single to start the inning.
Second baseman,
it's kind of a miss-hit, but I mean, perfect execution, and Agbayani just not able to really set her feet to make a good throw on that.
Single will bring up Samantha Ray, the sophomore lefty. And Ray, .294 average on the year. Again, a little bit of pop. She's got 1 home run on the year, but 9 doubles, which is good for second for the Knights.
Humphreys over on first base could be a threat here. 12 for 14 in stolen bases.
When you talk to the Central Florida coaching staff, head coach Cindy Ball-Malone just talks about how young this team is, but this is a very aggressive mindset coming from the Knights.
Yeah, and that is one thing that she mentioned was so important getting their start against OU, is to be very aggressive. You've got to attack early. You've got to make these pitchers work, but you've got to take advantage of those first pitch strikes.
Ground ball is going to take Landry, and she will do the glove flip for the first out of the inning, as Humphreys will move up to second base and into scoring position. But Landry bouncing off the rubber, making a play to bring up Aubrey Evans. The start of this ball game, a pair of mishit ground balls on the infield. A little seeing eye single to start the game, but a little glove work from Landry.
And sometimes that's what it takes to beat the Sooners. I think you've just got to put pressure on the defense and make them make a play.
And one thing the Central Florida team does well is they apply pressure to defenses. They run quite a bit. Again, up and down the lineup. Aubrey Evans, the junior, stands in 7 for 7 in stolen bases this season. It's that ground ball. It's going to eat Garcia up in the hole, and Evans is aboard. And just like that, here in the first, Central Florida using the dirt.
Yeah, that's a play that's got to be made. Gabby Garcia just kind of misreading that. It's a play that you might want to come in and charge a lot more aggressive and make that play.
And Garcia getting caught right on that edge, and again, not catching that high up, and that'll bring up the ever-dangerous Beth Damon. This ground ball, Landry thinks about third, but she's going to go ahead and get the lead out, and let's roll a pair as the Sooners use the defense to work out of a jam here in the first inning. We're scoreless after a pair of UCF hits. And Oklahoma showing a little pitcher defense. Why not roll a pair? Some of the first scoreless as Isabella Vega, the righty and reigning Big 12 pitcher of the week, is getting the start for the Knights. Had a complete game win not too long ago against number 3 Florida on March 26th. Shut them out. Picked up a save against Baylor and picked up another win here today.
Yeah, I think this is a really good matchup going with Vega. She doesn't have a ton of velocity. She's throwing in the low 60s, but she's got a lot of spin, and that's going to be very challenging for this OU offense.
And Vega overall going to be taking on the Oklahoma Sooners. Abby Dayton leading it off with Nellie McEnroe Marinas in the 2, Cassidy Pickering in the 3. As Vega gets ahead first pitch. We're going to go ahead and finish out that OU batting lineup. And Gabby Garcia, Ella Parker, Sydney Sanders, Ailana Agbayani in the 7, Isabella Emmerling in the 8, and Hannah Kaur getting the start in the 9 hole. And tough work for any hitter today against Isabella Vega. And you mentioned it, Destiny. Does not have that overpowering velocity as this pitch is skied high in foul territory, but gonna be taken care of for the first out of the inning by Sierra Humphreys. And that'll bring up Nellie McEnroe Marinas.
Number 2, Nellie McEnroe Marinas.
Nellie on the season, 381, 10 home runs, 40 RBI. And the redshirt freshman just went on an absolute tear.
She has been very fun to watch. She's a very smart hitter.
It's the 1-0, drops in a little bit low. It's been, you know, you can talk about both of these teams relatively young, but McEnroe Marinas, redshirt freshman, named team captain.
I think that's so unique because she did have a season with a lot of veterans who left last year, and she learned a lot, but I think that goes to show what this program really stands for, and it's just kind of passing that torch to keep the legacy going.
And Vega evens the count up at 2, and so much success for Vega in the circle this season. And when you look at Central Florida, some big wins, 35 overall in the RPI. So this pitch is going to stay fair, and McEnroe Marinas is aboard with a 1-out hit. So far in this ball game, 3 infield singles.
Hey, I mean, whatever it takes. I think these girls are really focused on trying to use the dirt. Seeing the top half of the ball, doing whatever it takes to get on base.
That single will bring up the ever-dangerous Cassidy Pickering, riding a 12-game hit streak, and has just been seeing the ball, I would say arguably as well as anybody in the country.
Yeah, she sees the ball well. She's very decisive. I like her discipline in the box.
Now on top of, in the last 12 games, .613 batting average, 3 home runs, but what stands out to me is that walk number. And there's some of that discipline right there, as first base umpire Kaylee Young is going to say she held up to run the count to a ball and 2 strikes. Rise ball up in the zone, but showing some discipline on that check swing. But 12 walks within that hitting streak as well.
think that's what Coach Gasso wants to see out of a 3-hole hitter, just finding your way on, seeing the ball well, being very decisive, being smart. And Coach Gasso talked a little bit about what she wants to see today, and it's more mature conversation. She wants them talking about their offensive decisions.
And the hit streak continues for Cassidy Pickering as she takes the 2-strike pitch and lines it to right field for a single, back-to-back singles for the Sooners against Vega. Going up to get this pitch.
Cassidy Pickering, she's seeing that up pitch very well. It's almost like you're throwing her a rise ball to get her to chase, but she can handle it. There's a lot of pitches that she's really able to work with, and that one there, sending that right back to right field.
Back-to-back singles will bring up the freshman Gabby Garcia. Garcia, the lefty, 398 on the year. Again, another freshman who just shows poise in the box. And I say freshman, another underclassman who shows poise in the box.
I'm talking to Coach Gasso. She mentioned she's having to do a lot more play calling and execution of hit and runs and bunt and runs and sack bunts and all of these things that she's not really used to, but she's getting to see these girls perform and be called upon, and having them execute is what brings the momentum into that dugout.
2-1, just a little off speed. In for called strike 2, and that is back-to-back off-speed pitches delivered from Vega. Both of those pitches creeping across the plate at 53 miles per hour. And the 2-2 swung straight through, and big out by Vega to sit down Gabby Garcia with a runner in scoring position, and 2 outs for the Knights. We'll bring up Ella Parker. And Parker, 376 average on the season, has struggled a little bit here as of late. As Vega goes back to the off speed. And Destiny, you were talking about, wanting to see that aggressive mindset, that attacking mindset that Coach Gasso talked about. How difficult is that when you have a thumber like Isabella Vega in the circle?
Yeah, I mean, as a hitter, it causes some kind of chaos in your mind because you want to be so aggressive. You're in your own tempo, but then the pitch and the velocity doesn't add up to your swing. So it forces you to be a lot more patient. Kind of causes you to slow the game down and see the ball a lot better.
A little bit of a chilly night here at Love's Field, just 52 degrees. I'm not gonna lie, it feels a little chillier than 52 to me outside.
I was thinking that too. And I'm like looking at the flags, like it's a little bit windy. Maybe that
bit of a
changes
north
the
wind.
feels like temperature.
Come to Oklahoma in April for the north wind. The 2-2 to Parker, off speed, just misses low and away. Count runs full to Ella Parker. Runners at first and second. It's a sky high on the infield. Humphreys is underneath it. And the Knights work themselves out of a jam as both teams in the first inning leave a pair of runners stranded. We're scoreless going to the second. Shut him out, 4-zip. And that was just not very long ago here on March 26th. And a little bit maybe of a chip on your shoulder walking in, playing Florida. And you look at that game, it was UCF's highest ranked shutout win. And Vega picking up the win in that game. And highest ranked shutout win since 2021 against Arizona. But Isabella Vega, looking at her numbers, and Very similar to what we saw here in the first inning.
Yeah, I mean, she's a really good pitcher. We're seeing a lot of movement, and we're seeing the OU Sooners kind of popping some of those balls up. I think they're having to really hone in and see this ball well. She's got some good spin, not a ton of velocity, which causes you to kind of change your approach. But she's able to keep these hitters off balance, and you could see in those wins, I mean, those are big wins. That'll give you some confidence.
5-hole hitter Izzy Mertes leading it off, just a freshman for Central Florida, was a big part of that Florida win, or that win over Florida, probably the better way to put it, the Central Florida win over Florida back on the 26th of March. Had a 2-run home run, and that was what led the Knights to victory, a pair of 2-run home runs. And there's a good look at Cindy Ball Malone. 4 straight NCAA regional appearances for the Knights. And this is really a program who has just really blossomed since moving into the Big 12.
Yeah, Cindy Ball Malone has done a really good job with this program and understanding the situations that she's putting her athletes in and playing some of these teams and beating Florida. That builds your confidence so much. But also she talked about putting them in atmospheres to kind of challenge them, just like here at Love's Field, playing at Florida. She wants her athletes to have those experiences and grow from it.
Busy day for Landry so far in the circle. That is the 3rd ground ball that Landry has gloved herself for an out to bring up the 6-hole hitter, Stormy Kotzelnick. The Carmel, Indiana native. One of the few seniors in the starting lineup for the Knights. Kotzelnick on the season, seeing that average at 254. Again, has got pop at times, and you look at this Knights lineup 1 through 9. 8 of the 9 hitters in this lineup have a home run. And lots of doubles. As Emmerling and Landry have a short chat. Early in this ball game, what are you seeing from Landry?
You know, I think she's got good control over herself. We're seeing her really work down in the zone. I think she's so far looking pretty good, allowing these hitters to kind of chase those balls that are down in the zone and work the dirt and trust her defense.
Big hack from Kotzelnick for strike 1. Sam Landry, 10 wins on the season. Seeing that record at 10-2. And when you look at Sam Landry, the velocity is there. She'll pump the gun at 70 miles an hour. See her work up, down, change speeds. And when I think about Landry throughout this season, she has success when she works ahead.
Yes, when she works ahead and counts, and when she's comfortable throwing that off speed. I think I've seen her throw that off speed in kind of questionable counts, but when she trusts it, it's good, and it works out in her favor.
I would say this every broadcast if there was an opportunity. You can't change my mind. The off-speed pitch, most important pitch in softball. Even if you throw 78. It's the 2-2 to Kotzelnick. Little check swing, and that will be called a foul ball. As Kotzelnick is making her way down to first base, but I have a feeling there's going to be a conversation.
Yeah, I think she definitely went for the swing there. I think all the athletes are calling it, and Coach Gass has come out. Yep.
And you could see on the check swing, and there's a group of alums in attendance tonight. So many alumni here. And just like that, it looks like Kotzelnick is going to be called back, and looks like a foul ball.
Yeah, you can see she kind of went in for that swing.
Now, the call is actually going to be that it hit her on the hands, and on the swing, strike 3. So that will be a strikeout for the second out of the inning. When I saw it live, I thought it caught barrel.
Yeah.
And watching it again, it actually caught the hands, as this pitch is going to loop in for a 2-out single as Ashley Griffin is aboard.
Griffin doing a really good job attacking early in the count and taking advantage of that first pitch strike inside. She's really created some space for her hands, got her barrel inside just into opposite field.
That is the third hit for UCF. To bring up 8-hole hitter Taylor Kittleman. Kittleman, one of the many underclassmen in this lineup, just a freshman. The left fielder hitting .303 on the year. The lone starter in this lineup tonight, 1 through 9, that doesn't have a home run, but Kittleman brings different things to the plate. She does have on the year, she just finds a way to get herself on base.
I think it's a really important role for the 8-hole hitter, is just finding your way on, keeping the momentum going, or creating that momentum. I think that's a part in the lineup where you've either got to keep it going or you've got to start something just right before it gets turned back over. That 9-hole kind of has that same role.
And Kittleman will be sat down for the third out of the inning. As we head to the bottom of the second, we are scoreless here in Norman. And the Sooners, first time back at left field since losing the series to Tennessee here last weekend. Carlin Pickens was pretty dominating as a whole, picking up 2 wins, except for Cassidy Pickering, going 7 for 8, but named this SEC Pitcher of the Week, and just want to see a response from the Sooners.
Yeah, I think Pickens is a very good pitcher. I mean, that is a tough opponent in Tennessee. I mean, they're a great squad, but Carlin Pickens really stood out in the circle, and Pickering is just an overall great hitter. Again, she's seeing the ball so well, no matter what the velocity is, no matter what the location is. Pickering is seeing the ball unbelievably well, and Pickens, again, just a great pitcher on the mound, great leader, just overall great player.
Pickens, Pickering, pick one. They were pretty ridiculous in the series here last week with Tennessee in town, and Sydney Sanders leading off for the Sooners. And you know, you can talk about that series a ton, but when we had a conversation with Coach Gasso earlier this week, the motto and what she kept saying over and over and over is she wants to see this team bow up.
Yeah. You want to see them really come out and, I mean, I don't know how to explain what she means by bow up. It's just show up and show out, and that's what she wants from these girls. She wants them to be aggressive. She wants them to be aggressive in all aspects of the game, whether it's on the base paths, going after a ball. She wants them to take pitches aggressively. She's just looking for a lot more aggressiveness, and she said, you know, a lot more communication on your hitting approach and what you're seeing from these pitchers. She just wants to see the little things and a lot more aggressiveness.
Sydney Sanders drawing the leadoff walk to tally her 29th walk of the season.
Number 50, Iolanda.
And for Vega, just her 21st on the year and over 77 innings pitched. And that'll bring up Ilana Agbayani. Shows bunt, and it's going to roll foul. And Sid Sanders can talk about the power and what she brings, but unreal in her ability to draw walks and set the Sooners up early here in the second with an option with Agbayani, who is just so versatile in what she can do with the stick.
She's been so fun to watch. She has placed some unbelievably great bunts down. She's a great execution.
And speaking of unbelievable bunts, this is going to be a great play by Beth Damon, popping out behind the plate as Agbayani has been called out at first base. Curious to see, as Coach Gasso's having a conversation with home plate umpire Hayes Lesher, if it's going to be a conversation of did she beat the throw or did first baseman Ashley Griffin pull her foot?
Yeah, I think Agbayani is very confident in her beating the throw. That's what I feel when she kind of, as soon as she ran through first, she felt that she was safe.
And you could see Agbayani kind of starting to make her way back to the dugout in a couple of the Sooner players, Maya Bland in particular, kind of going, no, you stay out there.
Yeah.
Sounds like we're having a little bit of an audio issue with first base umpire Kaylee Young. But in what looks to be will be a challenge.
Yeah, there will be a challenge, which, again, is it that they pulled the foot or just flat out safe?
And I think
This is a McIntyre Law
the challenge is, you look at it, I mean, it was a very close play, but as I was watching it live, I felt like I saw a little bit of daylight between Griffin's foot in the bag. Here's a good look at it here.
And Agbayani, great placement of that bunt.
Oh.
She did pull that foot. There is some space there.
And the throw beat Agbayani, but you can see on the replay, Griffin pulling the foot. I fully expect to see this overturned.
Yeah. You see Ray, the second baseman, kind of moving her body away from a collision is what it felt like. But the throw kind of leading her back into the lane.
And I'm sitting here saying Griffin on our bunt. Ray, our second baseman, covering first base. And that foot completely off the bag, and that was Griffin, first baseman Griffin, back on the bunt.
Oh, excuse me.
Hey. We're thinking bunt strategy. We're thinking bunt defense,
Yeah.
Destiny. It's and taking a little bit of time here, and pretty good view right there again. Probably looking at a couple of things of Griffin pulling her foot, whether or not Agbayani beat the throw. The call on the field right now is Agbayani is out at first base. Regardless, Sydney Sanders on the bunt has moved up to second.
Agbayani just had some extreme confidence that she was safe on that.
I'll say this, I don't think we're sitting here talking about the call, and we're going to find out here momentarily, but talk about going down to get a pitch for a sacrifice bunt.
Yeah, no, that was great execution on that. And great placement. I mean, that's a tough play to make.
Here comes Kaylee Young with the verdict.
After review, the first baseman was off the bag. The runner safe. The call is changed.
So call overturned. Again, the foot being pulled, and that'll put runners at first and second and nobody out for 8-hole Isabella Emmerling. And Agbayani all smiles, great bunt.
The amount of pressure put on you to make that decision, like, hey, I'm going to tell Coach Gasso we need a review.
Bow up.
You better be right.
Bow up.
Got to bow up. You're right.
And UCF coach Cindy Ball Malone wanting to have the conversation as well. And, you know, I think issue being at the end of the day is the challenge and having it on film. I think,
Yeah.
and watching it live, I felt like you could, again, you're seeing that daylight. Now, we have a much different vantage point up here in the booth, but nonetheless, call overturned. Runners at first and second, nobody out here in the second inning for the Sooners. And an opportunity for Isabella Emmerling. It's Beth Damon trying to keep Sydney Sanders on her toes, and I heard Coach Gasso talk about the aggressiveness that she saw when Coach JT Gasso was in the third base coach's back in game 1 last night. But good opportunity here for the Sooners to put some runners in motion, Destiny, you think? And don't need runners in motion when you have a line shot to left field. Sydney Sanders will score. And we've got Agbayani hung up in between third and home, and Agbayani will be tagged out, and good base running by Emmerling, standing on third base.
Oh, yeah. That was amazing base running. I love the aggressiveness to get herself to third. I think understanding Agbayani's situation, her job is to stay in that rundown and try to win that battle. Agbayani's got to try to get out of that. If she doesn't, Emmerling understood the assignment, and that was to get herself to third so that they're in the same situation with an opportunity to score again.
And UCF finding a way to get an out, but not before the Sooners are able to take an early lead here, 1-0. And UCF left fielder Taylor Kittleman playing the ball off the wall, getting the ball in quick, saving a run.
She did a great job, I think, reading that ball. You've got to take that first step back.
This is popped up on the infield. Griffin will glove it for route number 2 to bring up Hannah Core in the 9 slot.
Left fielder, number 16, Abigail Dayton.
And rolling it back to the top as Abby Dayton has an opportunity to put up a crooked number here in the second. Dayton popped up to third base in her first at-bat. And Vega worked around a pair of runners in scoring position back in the first. Runner at third, 1 out. Got the quick out of Hannah Core to pop up on the infield. Looking to minimize the damage here, but falls behind 3 balls and no strikes to Abby Dayton.
52 miles an hour on that pitch. She's averaging right around 60, 61, but to take some of that off is tough as a hitter. We're seeing a lot of pop-ups just because it's so tough to wait.
A 4-pitch walk to Abby Dayton, and again, something for Isabella Vega that you haven't seen too much in the year. Just 20 walks walking into this game, walked 2 in this inning. And that'll bring up Nelly Macaron-Marinas, who had an infield single in her first at-bat. Beth Damon, the UCF catcher, popping out quickly to keep an eye on Abby Dayton. Abigail Dayton, 12 for 14 in stolen bases on the season. And she'll take off with the pitch and get hung up in a rundown in between second and third, as Emmerling will score easily, and the Sooners wreaking some havoc on the base paths to manufacture a run.
I mean, that was a really good job. I think just doing what she's supposed to do with Dayton, getting in that rundown and allowing that runner to have some time to score from third base. That's the name of the game, first and third place.
Exactly how they drew it up. And the Sooners put up a pair in the second to take the lead.
Executed so properly. That is one of those wins that you all celebrate as a team. You come out of the dugout, that is a big win.
Sam Landry back to work, facing the 9-1-2 as Madison Simon, the righty, stands in for the Knights. Transfer from Oregon State, playing her senior season down in Orlando. Landry fires in and worked out of, again, jams in the first and second. The Knights have had runners aboard both innings, but have not been able to capitalize. And Landry ahead here, a ball and 2 strikes. Pretty good crowd here at Loves Field, considering
The weather.
it's freezing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it, it's freezing, especially for April.
No, it's a good crowd. There's a lot going on in Norman today. There's baseball. Got the Medieval Fair this weekend.
Oklahoma baseball taking on LSU just up the road. And any Central Oklahoma native knows that the Medieval Fair weekend is a big deal. If you haven't been, it's the 1-2, and Simon stays alive. Getting rid of some good pitches from Landry. That pitch just enough inside, in on the hands, and Simon gets rid of it. And Landry pulls the string to sit Simon down, her third strikeout on the day.
I mean, throughout that at-bat, I saw Landry hit 71 miles an hour. I saw her hit 64. And on this last pitch here, we see her hit 56. That is so tough as a hitter to adjust and understand your timing in the box.
That'll roll it back to the top of the lineup as first pitch hacked. Gonna fall foul. Sierra Humphreys singled to start the ball game, but was stranded at second base back in the first, and Humphreys seeing that average creep closer and closer to 400. And we've talked so much, and we've seen it on both sides. We've seen Vega changing speeds as well in a much different way than Landry, as that pitch catches the inside corner right at the knee at 66 miles an hour. And what's, as a hitting coach, Destiny, what is the conversation being had in really, truly in both dugouts, but right now in the Central Florida dugout, of making those adjustments and sitting on that off speed?
Yeah, I think it kind of goes back to our conversation with Cindy Ball Malone of attacking early. You understand that Sam Landry's goal is to get ahead of the count. So you're going to see a good pitch, probably first pitch. You've got to be ready to attack, or else you're going to have to figure out the balance.
Different hitters, same setup, same result. Back-to-back Ks from Landry, both off-speed pitches.
And the dangerous part with Sam Landry is that she's willing and capable of throwing that pitch in any count. That's the dangerous part. You don't want to get to that point. And in this situation, she's working ahead in the count. You might want to start looking at that first pitch as your only option. Of course, I say that, and then that one goes in the dirt.
Announcer's curse. Samantha Ray stands in for the Knights and grounded back to Landry in the first inning. But no, I'm with you, Destiny. It's you have to pick a horse, right? You've got to either sit late and gear up for the off speed, or you've got to be aggressive and go after the first pitch strike. And we're seeing Landry make that a priority. Nearly every hitter she's faced here this evening so far, she's been in a plus count.
You want to see the hitters adjust too. You want to see them be late, even on a faster pitch, fouling some stuff off that's opposite field, just working later in the zone. So that way they're a little bit more on time when that pitch does come in, when that off-speed pitch does come in.
Landry set to fire the 2-2. It's popped up and out of play. We've talked a lot about Central Florida and some of the wins that they have racked up this year. Again, beating Missouri, who was ranked at the time, taking 2 of 3 from Arizona. A big win over Florida just last week, or a week and a half ago. Is going to be cut off by Macaro Marinas, and the Sooners retire the side for the first time in this ball game as we head to the bottom of the third. 2-3-4 due up. It's the big coats.
But they're troopers. They're here.
Seeing a good ball game so far.
Lots of OU alumni in the house celebrating the 50th year anniversary of this program.
Nellie McEnroe Marinas leading it off, but tons of OU alums as Central Florida went to the bullpen in between innings, and Isabella Vega, who got the start, being pulled early in this ball game. And Elkins, the junior, little bit of a different look than what we saw from Vega. It's got a little bit more velocity, Destiny.
Yeah, a little bit more velocity. We're going to see between 64, 67. Her go-to pitch is the drop ball. I think we may see some hard ground balls.
Balls behind McEnroe Marinas, 3 balls and a strike. And Lena Elkins on the season, just 8 appearances, 3-2 with a 3.92 ERA, 19 2/3 innings thrown. As this pitch is just gonna fall foul. As the count runs 3 balls and 2 strikes. You can't get much closer than that.
No, you can't. A little bit of a delay on the call. I mean, that landed right on the line.
See a little chalk fly, as we say, Destiny. Nonetheless.
I do love that Nellie McEnroe Marinas was standing on second base just in case.
Even better, right? Those are the little things. But either way, McEnroe Marinas is aboard to start the 3rd, and back-to-back innings where the Sooners have drawn a leadoff walk.
I think that's what gets the momentum going. Getting that leadoff batter on is an issue for anyone on this field. One of the main goals is to get that leadoff batter out.
The walk will bring up Pickering. Singled back in the 1st to extend the hitting streak to 13 games. Shows bunt. Pickering's average 457. And it's not early. We're talking
mid-season.
Yes.
I mean, she's faced, her performance against Pickens was unbelievable.
And you're talking one of the best in the country.
Yeah.
And, I'm not going to take anything away from Vega. Vega, a freshman who started this game. And Damon keeping McEnroe Marinas honest at first base. But Vega started this game. Pickering, line drive single.
Yeah.
Just making it look easy regardless of who's in the circle. 3-1, another line drive to the left side. McEnroe Marinas will be held at second base and call it a 2-for-2 day so far for Pickering.
She's just seeing the ball so well on all sides of the plate. Her contact point, whether it's up in the zone, outer half, she's seeing the ball so well. That one was up and out. Did exactly what she needed to do with it. Found that 5-6 hole.
Pickering seeing the ball so well at this point. It doesn't matter if you're throwing her off speed, in, out, up, or down.
I'd be interested to see how many pitchers she's faced in this streak.
That sounds like a good job for a stat man. But Gabby Garcia shows bunt and in on the hands and fouled straight back. First and second, nobody out here in the 3rd. And these are the types of moments. Gabby Garcia, just a freshman. But the types of moments that you feel, Coach Gasso, that she was talking about earlier this week, of wanting to see that execution, wanting to see that moment of getting things done, and talk about execution as Gabby Garcia lays down a beauty to third base. No play at first, and that'll load him up for Ella Parker.
Just an excellent job by Gabby Garcia, seeing that ball all the way to her contact point, making sure it hit the end of the bat to really kill the ball, put it into no man's land. That's a tough play to make, but it had no pop on it. She was able to really kill it, making Humphreys really charge in, and by that time, the speed of Gabby Garcia, it's too late to make a play.
Head coach Cindy Baumalone out having a conversation with her infield. Bases juiced and nobody out for Ella Parker. And you know, you look at Ella Parker's stat line and everything that she's done, it's been a little bit of a struggle for Parker here since the Sooners entered SEC play, but there is no denying Ella Parker is one of the best bats in the country.
Yes, absolutely. Ella Parker is one of the best hitters I've ever seen. I think her time is coming, and I think that's such a hard position to be in as a coach, having to kind of work through and just kind of wait for that spark to come back. And Ella Parker's got it. She's got all the mechanics. She's got it. She sees the ball well. It's just got to fall, and once it falls, it's more than likely going to be unstoppable for her.
Parker started the season about as hot as they come. Hit 640 through the month of February, and I'm telling you, there is not a single pitcher in the world that could have gotten her out.
Yeah.
Struggled a bit, March into April, just 136 as this pitch is launched to left field, and talk about coming out of a slump in a big way. Call it a grand slam for Ella Parker. And the Sooner fans are on their feet, and Ella Parker rising to the occasion.
That is exactly what she needed. I think that spark, that moment, that opportunity for her to see that pitch and send it completely out, that was no question. That is something that gives you your spark back.
Destiny, this pitch,
belt high pitch. I mean, that is a pitch that you can't really afford to throw to a hitter like Ella Parker. But I mean, seeing that ball out, that is what she needed. That is the spark.
The grand slam will bring up Sydney Sanders, looking to start the rally again. Nobody out for the Sooners here in the third, as the grand slam makes it 6-0. And Sydney Sanders started the rally for the Sooners back in the second, drawing a walk, and came around to score on Isabella Emmerling's RBI. And Destiny, you were talking about it, of how tough it can be to be in that position, especially as a sophomore. I feel like I say this all the time. Being a sophomore is tough, especially after you had a season like Ella Parker did as a freshman.
Yeah.
What does an at-bat like that do for her mindset?
I think it's a confidence adjustment that you can now, that you have in your back pocket. I think you get so far down the rabbit hole of I haven't hit, can I hit? What am I doing wrong? You start questioning your mechanics, you start questioning yourself, your talents, your abilities. And I think that is something that is so needed, to be like, you know what, I am a great hitter. That's what I needed. And I'm a timely hitter. I think that has so much to do with the confidence, and it's just kind of a new slate now.
2-2 to Sanders, off speed and grounded foul. This game has been all Oklahoma so far. The off speed misses outside, and Elkins starting to go to the changeup. Came into this game to start the third in relief of the freshman Isabella Vega. And Sydney Sanders, and what she believed to be ball 4, low and away, will be called out looking for the first out of the inning.
basement, number 50, Ilana.
Pitch from Elkins.
I mean, I think that pitch is definitely too close to take with 2 strikes. You've got to foul it off. If you don't like it, just get it out of there. Keep your at-bat alive.
Ilana Agbayani stands in. And, you know, we talk so much about Sydney Sanders and the eye that she has and the discipline and her understanding of the strike zone. Again, 29 walks on the year. But a big strikeout. And good response by Elkins in the circle.
Yeah, I think that's just one of those things. You just don't want to leave it up to the umpire. You can't afford to do that, I think. If it's that close, you've got to just send it out. Keep your at-bat alive and don't leave it up to the umpire.
Lena Elkins, the junior, as we mentioned, in on relief, but works up and down. Mixes speeds ahead of Agbayani here, a ball and 2 strikes. Catcher Beth Damon out to have a conversation. And what's the message here, Destiny? I mean, the grand slam, but also responding with the strikeout.
Yeah. I think it's a tough situation for her because you want to paint the plate, you want to paint the corners, you want to do all of those things, but you also got to throw strikes. And that's where it's hard because these hitters with this OU offense, if you throw a strike, there's a chance that they can do something with it. So I think just those borderline pitches, just like we saw Sydney Sanders strike out on, is where you've got to stay.
That pitch gets away from Elkins, and Agbayani will be aboard via the hit by pitch to bring up Emmerling.
The catcher, number 13, Isabella.
Isabella Emmerling, big hit back in the second to get the scoring moving for the Sooners. And if you look at Central Florida and their body of work, you feel, and I feel like this is always, at least in recent years under Coach Cindy Ball Malone, as this ball is laced to right field and gonna just fall foul. But they're always one of those teams who absolutely fights. Every game you have with them is a battle, but they always find a way to win ball games that people wouldn't necessarily expect them to win.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely a testament to the head coach. I think what she's created is fight. You don't give up. You continue to push through each inning, take it 1 pitch at a time.
Speaking of 1 pitch at a time, Emmerling is sat down via the changeup, and Elkins just absolutely pulling the string.
It's a great pitch. And trusting it in that count. It's huge. I think Emmerling just not seeing the ball as well. It's kind of out of the zone, but I think pulling the string kind of.
Third strikeout by UCF pitching here tonight. Bring up Hannah Core. Core popped out in foul territory to the first baseman in her first at-bat. 343 on the year. Elkins changes speeds again. But kind of getting back, Central Florida really on the year again, 23-16-1. But when you look at Central Florida, really had some really good wins and some key wins early, but have struggled a little bit since getting into Big 12 play. Just 4-8 in the Big 12 since entering conference. Got swept by Iowa State. Lost the series down in Waco to Baylor just last weekend. Good location from Elkins.
I think that kind of goes to show sometimes you see teams really show up when they have nothing to lose. And I don't know that that's the case. I haven't seen all of their games. You know, I think that's just kind of a mentality that you kind of show up when you're playing against Arizona. You're getting after it. When you're playing against Florida at Florida, you have nothing to lose.
And the two-strike pitch is going to loop into right field, and Hannah Kaur, a little bit of two-out hitting as Agbayani moves up into scoring position, and that'll roll the lineup back over to Abby Dayton.
A good piece of hitting. Seeing that ball down in the zone. These girls are doing a good job letting the ball travel deeper into the zone and sending it opposite field. They're seeing the ball really well.
Conversations on both sides as Coach Gasso wants to chat with her offense, and opportunity here for the Sooners.
Lots of speed on the base paths. You do have 2 outs, so it'd be interesting to see if she has a play call here. But it would not surprise me.
Yeah, Coach Gasso talked about it, earlier today of, being more aggressive with this team than she's been in recent years. And what an opportunity here. You've got 3 of the quickest players you got on this ball team.
Yeah.
Agbayani at second, Hannah Kaur at first, and Abby Dayton in the box.
I think this is one of those opportunities where we could see Dayton kind of show bunt to draw those corners in, and we may see an all-out race between Agbayani and Evans at shortstop. Just putting some pressure on the defense, and they've got to make perfect throws in that case.
And it looks like Central Florida has made the decision to go to the bullpen. And the night for Elkins a bit short. And we will tell you more about the pitching change when we come back. To the bullpen and decided to go with the junior Caitlin Cochran, the righty from South Carolina. 7th appearance on the year, 1-2 with a 10.14 ERA. Has not seen a ton of time, 9 2/3. But again, the Knights just trying to keep this game within some sort of striking distance. Cochran, a righty. As Abby Dayton stands in, and just as we kind of discussed before the break of expecting to see something on the ground.
Yeah, I think with Cochran on the mound right now, we're going to see some lower velocity, lower 60s, some movement. Not a lot of innings here, but I think one thing that means for the Sooners is that there's not a lot of scouting reports on her.
Both runners take off. Agbayani is thrown out at third base. And Coach Gasso having a bit of a conversation, but the double steal doesn't play, but not before Ella Parker absolutely launches the grand slam to make it 6-zip Sooners. We go to the top of the 4th. Sooners on top 6-0 over UCF. I'm DJ Sanchez with Destiny McElroy, and Sooners have taken control of this ball game after a grand slam by Ella Parker. And there's a look at the SEC in the top 10. Oklahoma currently ranked 3. All top 4 teams, SEC teams. And then you got Tennessee sneaking in there at 6, LSU at 7, South Carolina at 9. I mean, there is no break.
Yeah, there's really no break here. I think this conference is so challenging, but it's such good softball, so fun to watch.
Sooners getting a break out of conference this weekend as they took on the University of St. Thomas last night. And Central Florida this evening, and another bout with Central Florida again tomorrow. As shortstop Aubrey Evans stands in 1 for 1 here tonight. On an infield single as this pitch is popped up, and if it stays in, it'll play, and Emmerling making the catch next to the net for the first out of the inning.
Immerling, great job with that. Getting out of the box, flipping the helmet, making sure she's calling it.
Number 80, Beth Damon.
And Immerling, you could see she had a track on it the whole time. As Beth Damon stands in. Damon grounded into a 1-4-3 double play back in the first. As Landry set to fire the 1-0. This is struck well to center field, but Hannah Core underneath it, and 2 quick outs for Sam Landry to start the 4th inning.
Sam Landry, only 44 pitches on the game. I mean, that's really good.
Just efficient.
Right fielder, number 28, Izzy Mertes.
As Izzy Mertes stands in. 0 for 1 here tonight, and a little bit of change of speeds as Landry opens the count with off speed, and not something we've seen her do a ton so far in this game.
No, but I love that she's comfortable enough to do that, because just as I said earlier, you want to attack early because you don't want to get her to that point. But now if she's throwing it first pitch, that's even harder.
And back-to-back off-speed pitches retires Mertes, and Sooners retire the side. Back-to-back innings as we head to the bottom of the 4th inning, and Sooners on top, 6-0. Caitlin Cochran back to work for the Knights as we head to the bottom of the 4th inning, and Oklahoma looking to extend their lead, and 3rd pitcher used by UCF here this evening as Oklahoma going to the bench as well, as Tia Malloy set to pinch hit for Abby Dayton to lead off the 4th. Cochran, the 3rd pitcher for UCF in this ball game, entered in the 3rd inning, threw a pitch, and was able to get out of the jam. A little help from her defense. Beth Damon throwing out Ailana Agbayani at 3rd base on the attempted steal. Tia Malloy getting her first AB of the night. 234 on the year, and the freshman getting some spot starts from time to time early. This ball is grounded to Evans, and Evans will throw her out on the run for the first out. That is the first time a Sooner hitter has been retired to start an inning since the first.
Tia Malloy really scratching and clawing at this lineup. She's got what it takes. And she's just a freshman. She's got to get those opportunities and really take advantage of them, but she's such a skilled athlete. She'll get there.
And Macaron Marinas stand in 1 for 1 here tonight. Had a walk back in the 3rd, and I think at the time didn't realize the gravity of it, but led off the 3rd inning with a walk, and that sort of got the ball rolling for the Sooners, and came around to score on the grand slam by Ella Parker. Eight hits for the Sooners here tonight. It's Cochran. This is upstairs. And if you look at the stat line on it, it's kind of interesting. 6 runs on 8 hits. 6 of the 8 hits have been singles.
I mean, you just got to pass the torch. Be smart on the base paths.
Cochran falls behind, 3 balls and a strike. Of those singles, we've seen a few infield hits as well. A double. pitch is fouled back, but of the 6 singles, 2 of those were infield hits. You had the 1 double by Emmerling, and then the grand slam by Ella Parker. But we've also seen a little bit of short game. We've seen runners in motion. We've seen sacrifice bunts.
Yeah, and I think that's a testament to applying pressure on the defense can also win you ball games. Make them make a play. Execute your bunts.
3-2 just misses outside. And Macaron Marinas is aboard with her 2nd walk of the day. And Cassidy Pickering will stand in, and Coach Gasso pulls out the signal card.
I think that makes it fun too, just piecing it together, not relying on the long ball, which Ella Parker was clutch in that moment and such timely hitting on that. But it means so much more when you know you can kind of piece it together. You're not relying on that.
Cochran on top, no balls and 2 strikes to Pickering. Pickering, we can say it over and over. You want to talk storylines. 13-game hitting streak, 2 for 2 with a run scored here tonight. Sooners looking to add to their 6-run lead. We go back to talking about manufacturing runs, and we've seen the Sooners do it here. And again, it's easy to look and go, oh, the Ella Parker Grand Slam, right? Like, that's easy to look at, but you talked about it, Destiny, just having decks on the pond and being in those situations to begin with, using the dirt, drawing walks.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a walk with Nelly. Gabby Garcia came up and laid a perfect bunt down. And those are the little things that cause a lot of celebration in the dugout. Keep that momentum and that energy up.
Something Coach Gasso talked about after the series loss to Tennessee here at Love's Field is it looks like there's going to be a little bit of a shift in the UCF defense as Pickering stays alive. And no shift, just you gotta make sure all the equipment's working, right? Step 1, right? But one of the adjustments Coach Gasso kind of mentioned after that series loss of wanting to see better execution. And I feel like you watch reactions of coaches often, right? And seeing reactions after good jumps or the 1st and 3rd play. So how, you go back and you look at the short game, not just of laying down bunts or using the dirt, but the base running.
Yeah. No, base running is such a unique tool that's needed. And I feel like a lot of people don't talk about it, but the importance of that will make or break games. If you're tagging when you're supposed to tag, or if you're tagging and you're not supposed to tag, that can definitely affect the score at the end of the game.
Back-to-back walks for Cochran, and I will say this, she's around the zone, just not able to catch that corner. As Gabby Garcia stands in, and Beth Damon gonna make her way out to have a chat with her pitcher. And Garcia 1 for 2 here tonight with a run scored, and you go back to the at-bat of Gabby Garcia. That single was a sacrifice bunt.
And it was perfectly placed. I think that's one of the skills that really is not talked about either, is can you deaden the ball? Can you make sure that the ball hits the end of the bat when you're bunting? Can you slow it down?
Whatever Beth Damon said, Cochran listened, found the strike zone for strike one to Gabby Garcia. Cochran on top of the ball and 2 strikes on a pitch a bit low in the zone, but good location. And here's the thing, you know, you can hear the groans of the fans this side or another. That's been a strike all game.
Yeah.
We've seen it a couple times.
Yeah, the consistency is something that hitters need to pick up on.
1-2 line right back up the middle. Here comes McEnroe Marinas, and she will be held up. And in a situation that was oh so familiar last inning, Ella Parker has got the bases juiced.
I mean, that was an absolute rocket off the bat. Hard hit ball, dead center. Gabby Garcia just showing off her strength on that one.
Garcia sending it right back where it came from, and arguably the hardest hit ball we've seen here tonight.
I mean, that was a rocket.
Ella Parker had the grand slam back in the third to make this game 6-0.
Seeing that UCF defense really trying to keep Cochran alive, hyping her up, talking to her between pitches.
And this is a UCF team that over and over has just shown fight, but Ella Parker back in the third, taking a pitch, and you can just see the excitement, and we talked about it a lot. Ella Parker, it's not a secret she's been struggling here as of late, but almost just the relief and the joy.
I mean, it's almost immediate confidence back in your toolbox. That's what Ella was missing, I think. And we all know she's a great hitter. She sees the ball well. She's very smart in the box. She's strong. She's quick. She's got it all. But I think when you have that doubt in your mind, that affects you big time. And so a hit like that, with bases loaded, coming up with that grand slam, it gives you your confidence back.
Well, and if anything, what she's shown, she's human. I don't think anyone thought, right? She's human. I mean, you look at her track of what she did as a freshman, the way that she started February. Again, she hit over 600 to start the year. And again, showing that she's human. But
I mean, to say that Ella Parker was struggling and then we look up and we see that her average is 396, you're not actually struggling. Your expectations
you're
are
just not hitting over
a little
650.
outlandish. Yeah.
Cochran fires the 3-1 and fouled back. Cochran, since she's entered this game, again, entered back in the third, has only given up 1 hit, but has put herself in this jam with back-to-back walks. Does a good job of keeping the ball down. She fires the payoff pitch and misses low and away. And I say low and away on the delayed call. And right before I was getting ready to say on a pitch that has been called a strike all game.
Wow. It's that corner. I mean, Cochran has found it. She's stuck to it. And that is a pitch that needs to be protected. Whether you agree or not, it's being called. You've got to fell it off and get it out. Stay alive. And it's no question. It's been called.
You got to tip your hat to Cochran. Bases loaded, Ella Parker at the plate, and being able to hit that spot. Again, whether you agree of the strike call or not, it's happened 3 times in this ball game of that same exact pitch being called a strike. So Cochran being able to spot up. And the Sooners going to a pinch hitter with bases loaded, and Sydney Barker, the freshman. An opportunity here with bases loaded and 2 outs. Barker, 317 on the year, but she's got some pop.
Yeah, and she's got some timely hits.
And speaking of timely plays, Aubrey Evans snatches what probably could have been a base clearing double in the left center field gap to end the inning. And the Sooners get blanked in the 4th. We head to the top of the 5th inning, and Central Florida getting out of a huge jam to end the 4th and keep this game in striking distance. And Isabella Vega got the start. A little bit of a short leash, and you look at the line on Vega, but 2 earned runs, but a lot of that was manufactured through the free pass. A lot of those hits were infield singles as well. The big difference maker in this ballgame, Sam Landry in the circle, has been pretty dominant. 3 hits, again, of those all singles, and Ella Parker with the big grand slam back in the 3rd, and that's how we got here. 6-0 as Landry is set to face the 6-7-8 in Stormy Kotelnick. Kotelnick, a strikeout victim back in the 2nd. And UCF looking to get the sticks going. On the season as a team, hitting 275. But again, a potent offense that finds a way to push runs across, and doing it against, again, some of the best pitching staffs in the country. And this is a team that, when you talk about Central Florida, has fight, has spunk, and just absolutely salty. As Kotelnick stays alive. This game right now, and a good cushion for Oklahoma, but of UCF's 16 losses this year, is this high hopper right back to Landry, and she's going to glove it and take care of Kotelnick for the first out of the inning. It's been a busy night for Landry in the circle.
I was just thinking that. She has fielded her position very well tonight.
Kotelnick trying to get something going and using the dirt. But that'll bring up Ashley Griffin. But when you look at UCF's body of work, again, some really good wins. As I mentioned, 35 in the RPI.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good spot to be, as the first pitch is looped straight at Agbayani, and 2 quick outs for Landry. But of their 16 losses, 12 have been by 2 runs or less.
Yeah, I think you've got to be able to finish. And a team like UCF, they're going out, they're playing these tough teams, they've got nothing to lose, they're showing out. But I think one thing that Cindy Ball-Malone had mentioned is, where do we want to be on that selection Sunday? We're playing the good teams, we're showing up, we are sometimes beating the good teams, but what does it look like when we're playing those teams that are lower RPI?
And that looks like that's going to close the book on Sam Landry today, as the Oklahoma Sooners are going to go to the bullpen, and Oklahoma making the pitching change here in the 5th, and going with Audrey Lowry, the freshman, battling some injury and working her way back. But Landry, what a start.
You know, it's been fun to see her. She hasn't had that many opportunities, haven't seen her a ton, but I love when she gets these chances in the circle, I think, to really show her talent, what she's capable of. And from what I understand, she's a really good pitcher. We've just got to get her settled in, give her more opportunities out there, get her comfortable. get her some confidence.
And Audrey Lowry on the year, 5-0. Just over a 2 ERA, 30 innings pitched. But when you look at Lowry on the season, just a freshman, 9 appearances. But you go back to the very opening weekend of the SEC for Oklahoma and what were 2 extremely high-scoring ball games to open up that series. And Audrey Lowry came out on the final day and held down South Carolina. In what would be her best outing so far this season. Again, has not seen a ton of time here in the coming weeks, was not available against Tennessee last weekend, and back at it here this evening.
I think one stat that really stands out is her 2 walks to 31 strikeouts. And just as a freshman, she has faced some tough opponents, some tough hitters, but I think that's a big stat for a freshman to come out with only 2 walks in the season. That's huge.
And that's really an adjustment. And I think that's something, too, we look at Isabella Vega for Central Florida as well. Her walk numbers very low. Walking into this game, struggled with the walks here a little bit in her start tonight. But that's something that's difficult for a freshman pitcher.
Yeah.
Of feeling, how do I nibble at the plate but still work ahead and counts?
Yeah, and I mean, just a freshman overall in this sport, like your whole life has been an adjustment. You are going to school, you're going to study hall, you're going to practice, you're doing all these things, you got morning workouts, you've got so many adjustments. So just the lifestyle in general for her to come out, and any freshman, and do so well, finding the zone and trusting your mechanics. It's tough for any freshman in this sport.
Kendall Yarnell in the pinch hit spot in the 8th slot for UCF. And this pitch is flared to the right side, but gonna fall foul. Yarnell, also a freshman, again on this very young UCF team, hitting .317 on the year. Seen some starts, has appeared in 33 games for the Knights, but 40 at-bats. Lowry looking to shut out the 5th inning, and she'll do just that. Swing and a miss. And she'll sit down Yarnell. Sooners on top 6-zip as we go to the bottom of the 5th. To make it 6-0 Sooners. And UCF going to the bullpen again to bring in Yesenia Lopez, and 4th pitcher used by UCF here this evening, another freshman out of the bullpen. And Lopez, her 19 appearances on the year, 2-6 with a 3.42 ERA, 69 2/3 innings thrown with 16 walks and 67 strikeouts. And Lopez on the year has seen quite a bit of time for a freshman and has had a lot of success. But again, UCF just continuing to change things up and change the eyes of these Sooner hitters, and again, trying to keep this game in striking distance. And Lopez set to face Ailana Agbayani.
And I think this is something we've seen in the past, is just kind of piecing it together with different pitchers, trying to keep this OU offense off balance, not allowing them to get too comfortable off of one pitcher. We will see a lot more speed here with 72 velocity. She's got a good off speed that we can look forward to. I think it's a good call here, trying to mix up what these pitchers can do.
And each of these pitchers for UCF, each bring a different look.
Yeah.
And when you're trying to build a pitching staff, and again, especially as young as this UCF team is, you're trying to build a pitching staff. You want those different looks, and you know, every pitcher on the staff is a righty. But when you look at Isabella Vega, also a freshman who started this ball game, as that rise ball climbs the ladder for strike 2. But you look at Isabella Vega, who, again, safe to call her a spinner.
Yeah.
Kind of a thumber. And then Elkins, a little more velocity, but really working up and down, and Cochran in the mix, but working left to right. And then you're able to go back to Lopez, hardest thrower on the staff.
Yeah. And it's a total different look, even just the feel, the style of pitching. We're seeing Lopez kind of with that lower squat down in her legs. I mean, those are all adjustments that as a hitter, you've got to figure out where the release point is. She's got very long arms, long release.
And you can see Lopez, and you can talk about the velocity and the movement. That last pitch coming in at 68 miles an hour. But when you see the delivery, like you said, Destiny, that low start as that rise ball climbs the zone. And another thing that makes a rise ball a little bit tough is when you are seeing that release point from a low angle.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Lopez, one of their better pitchers, I think. Seeing Cochran getting called upon and the way she executed, she did get herself into a little bit of a jam, but she was able to get out of it. So I think that allows her to get some confidence in herself in the circle. And I think all of these pitchers having this opportunity against an OU offense and being able to perform as well as they have been, I mean, there was one timely hit that put 4 runs on the board. But I think these pitchers have done a pretty good job really piecing it together and allowing the staff to work together.
Corey Hicks getting a pinch hit opportunity. The freshman in her 15th at-bat on the year. Lopez rocks and fires. And curveball just misses outside at 69 miles an hour. Yeah, and I think that's a great point, Destiny, as you look, and we talked about the disparity, the disbursement of hits by the Oklahoma Sooners. 9 hits on the board. Of those, 7 have been singles. And
yeah,
you go back, and I think the way you phrased it was perfect. One time you hit.
Yeah. And that's, you know, it's not any pitcher was really doing a bad job.
No, not at all.
I mean, they've done a great job, and even Cochran with not as many innings, not as much experience this season. I mean, she got out of that. That was huge. And I think that puts a lot more confidence into a pitcher when you can get yourself into that situation and get out of it. I mean, that goes to show, and I think that puts a lot more trust in your coaches to put you out there. A lot more opportunities come to you.
Fourth night pitcher here this evening. A little check swing. Gets rid of the 2-2. Now, if you look at the other side of that coin, 4 of the 6 pitchers in the UCF arsenal have been used here tonight.
Yeah.
Now, something kind of interesting, okay? UCF down 6-0 at this point. Another game with the Sooners tomorrow. UCF has not won a ball game yet this year at a time when they were trailing by more than 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a confidence and kind of attack mode issue. As you know, you get to that point, and where is the effort? Is it still there? And I'm seeing a lot of effort still in this 6-run lead.
Lopez looking to do something that no UCF pitcher has done here tonight and sit the Sooners down in order. 3-2 rounded to second base, and 2 quick outs for Yesenia Lopez as pitch came off the cap of the bat.
Now batting, center fielder, number 27,
Hannah Core
Hannah Core.
will step in to face Yesenia Lopez. Core 1 for 2 here tonight with a single.
Now, the pitcher with the most innings for UCF, Felton, hasn't come in yet, so they're saving her for tomorrow, I'd assume.
Lopez falls behind. And Felton, Caitlin Felton, 9-3, arguably UCF's ace. But, you know, one thing that this pitching staff, all throughout the season, I mean, their innings pitched are pretty close. As you mentioned, Destiny, Felton with the most, and that's gonna get straight through into right field. As Hannah Core breaks up the 1-2-3 inning. The single makes its way past the diving Samantha Ray.
Hannah Core just, I love how she took that outside approach, seeing that ball get deeper in the zone, finding that hole between second and first base.
And the single will bring up Tia Malloy. Malloy grounded out to short in her first at bat. Malloy checked in left field defensively for the Sooners. The 1-0.
It's a good swing.
Good hack on a tough pitch. Wound up in the top part of the zone. Big hack from Tia Malloy, and one thing Malloy has shown, she has got some power, but just a pure hitter. And just as Tia knew what I was getting ready to say, she's got some power, but she can do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, she's a triple threat.
Yes, I was going to say she is your favorite thing. I was trying to set you up for the triple threat, Destiny.
No, she's got it all. I mean, she's quick. She's got the power. She's got the speed. She's got the barrel control. She can really work the dirt.
This ball is popped up in foul territory, and it's going to get out of play.
That foul ball brought to you by join1oklahoma.com.
Bottom of the 5th, and the Sooners put up a big crooked number in the 4th by way of the grand slam, but have been relatively quiet since then. And Central Florida working around some runners on base, and Yesenia Lopez looking to do just that here in the 5th.
Everybody clap your hands.
As the game has gone on, I was talking earlier about the weather, and I think it's fair to continue. Hasn't creeped down into the 40s quite yet in Norman, as this ball is laced. And talk about another tremendous play by Aubrey Evans. Aubrey Evans keeping runs off the board for Central Florida. This ball was laced, but Aubrey Evans makes it look easy. I have a feeling a lot of softball fans did not expect to need to break out their heavy coats and their scarves and their stocking caps for an April ball game.
I had to go into the winter jacket closet, pull out my jacket.
I saw you walk in, I'm going, I should have done that.
Well, I just never know what these windows are going to do.
I was not prepared. As Madison Simon, a senior center fielder for the night, stands in struck out back in the third. And freshman Audrey Lowry getting some time. Again, just big key for Lowry coming back after missing a couple of weeks is how quickly can you get back comfortable?
Yeah, I think that's a big piece of it. And I think this is a really good opportunity with this 6-run lead, getting back out there and not having as much pressure as maybe a tighter ball game. Just finding that confidence, finding that comfort in the circle. It's a good opportunity for her.
Madison Simon, one of the few seniors in this starting lineup, as we kind of mentioned. And when you're talking to UCF and Coach Ball Malone of just the youth that she's seen in this Central Florida team this year, and so many positives, but also at times seeing some of that youth be exposed. And that's that's natural. But Simon, one of those upperclassmen leaders in the starting lineup. It's the 2-2, misses low.
I think we heard, both coaches kind of talking about the youthfulness in their lineups, and Coach Gasso had mentioned the conversations are so different from what she's had in the past. When you have veterans that have been to the World Series, won 3 straight at that point, and you hear their conversations of what are they saying, what is the pitch doing, what are the mechanics to look for.
High hopper to Agbayani, and Simon will be sat down.
You just hear those different types of conversations, and it's almost like she's got to teach that now, and I think that's part of being so young. You don't have those little things in place just yet.
And when you look at the starting lineup tonight for both of these teams, as Sierra Humphreys stands in, shows bunt. Humphreys trying to get something moving. But starting lineup tonight for UCF, 2 seniors and 2 juniors. Everyone else in the starting lineup, freshmen and sophomores, including a freshman starting pitcher to start this ball game. Yesenia Lopez, who has come into this game late, also a freshman. And then you look on the other side. Oklahoma, 1 senior in the starting lineup. And then when Sam Landry is in the circle, as she was earlier in this ball game, you've got a pair of seniors. So just a lot of youth as this ball is struck well and at the warning track. But Hannah Kaur will make the catch as Humphreys almost erased the goose egg with 1 swing of the bat. And that'll bring up Samantha Ray.
Number 2, Samantha Ray.
But so much youth on this ball field tonight, whether in a Sooner uniform or Central Florida. And Samantha Ray stands in. 0 for 2 with a couple of ground outs. Lowry and fires, and Hannah Kaur making the catch in center field, and Lowry will retire the side here in the 6th. We go to the bottom half. Female tech director. Women's scorebug up in a completely female booth. We got a game being run by women here tonight.
I love this. So fun.
Pretty awesome.
Some jobs are a lot warmer than others.
This is true. As far as I am concerned, we've got the easiest job in here in comparison.
So. I think so. Thank you guys for soldiering this weather out there.
Absolutely. We are the spoiled ones on this crew. As Nelly Macaron-Marinas stands in to start the bottom half of the 6th inning for the Sooners, and Yesenia Lopez back to work. But it's pretty cool, not very often that you get an all-female crew across the board. So pretty special here at Loves Field tonight. Lopez falls behind, and one thing you talked about, Destiny, and I think that it's something to continue to pay attention to. One thing that this pitching staff for UCF has done, and Vega, who got the start, but Lopez as well, has thrown a number of innings.
Great pitch to choose. I mean, great pitch selection on that. The whip, we talk about Coach Gasso, and just the strength of the wrist through that barrel, getting that swing done. Nelly Macaron-Marinas tying herself up for first in doubles, tied up with Ella Parker.
And that leadoff double will bring up Cassidy Pickering. Pickering 2 for 2 here tonight with a pair of singles. Drew a walk back in the 4th and scored a run. And Macaron-Marinas, as you mentioned, adding another double to her resume this season. And this is one thing I always look at, and I look at Central Florida as well. The sign of a good team, doubles.
Yeah.
That is a sign of a good offensive team.
And you've got a mix in there, lots of doubles. I mean, I think it goes to show that they're gap hitters. They don't rely necessarily on the long ball. Yes, that helps. But when you can hit a ball off the wall through the gaps, that's when you can score a lot of runs. Piecing it together.
Count evens up at 2 as Lopez catches the bottom half of the zone. And, you know, when you look at both of these teams and you look at offensive stats, you know, it's really easy, that low-hanging fruit, to look at power numbers. But when you look at UCF, you look at Oklahoma. Both have high double numbers, and their triple numbers are very similar.
Yeah.
Oklahoma 58, now 59, 60. We'll call it 60 today. We're going to keep stats rolling live, but 60 doubles on the season. 51 for UCF, right? Both entered this game very similar. 6 triples for UCF, 7 for Oklahoma. As Aubrey Evans fires it across to throw out Cassidy Pickering, and Aubrey Evans has made some tremendous plays to end innings, and I don't think we've given her enough credit.
She really has. I mean, this was a perfectly fielded ball. Played the hop well, but came up strong. The great throw, cannon from shortstop.
Aubrey Evans has been a difference maker in this ball game defensively. If she doesn't make a couple plays, this game was over.
Yeah, she has fielded some line drives, some shots up the middle.
Having her pitchers back, and gotta love, and on top of what she has done defensively just with the glove, I mean, she is back and forth, talking to every single one of these pitchers, and just always moving, and just great energy.
And I think that's another piece of the puzzle as a pitcher facing an offense like OU, finding that confidence and having that poise and demeanor in the circle. You've got to have a defense that you trust, and I feel like Evans is one of those players that you can definitely put your trust in, kind of look to in the moment.
Everybody clap your hands.
Gabby Garcia chase to pitch upstairs, make it 1 ball and 2 strikes. And Aubrey Evans, one of the few upperclassmen in this UCF lineup, just a junior, so still has some eligibility left, but showing that leadership here tonight. Gabby Garcia, 2 for 3. Laid down a bunt back in the 3rd, and when you talk about momentum, and this is a game of momentum, you hear anyone who knows anything about softball, this is a game of momentum. As the 2-2 is called 3rd strike, and you can see Gabby Garcia not happy about the call, but 2 strikes, pretty close there in the strike zone.
That same pitch, I mean, that same part of the zone that they are continuously getting rang up on.
And that pitch, I would say even more than others, probably catching even more of the zone. I mean, that's a strike through and through, and good spot by Yesenia Lopez as Ella Parker stands in. And just like that, the response from the freshman in the circle, leadoff double to Macaron Marinas. Ground ball by Pickering, the hottest hitter in this OU lineup. Getting the K of Gabby Garcia, an opportunity here to work around a jam. Ella Parker has been the difference maker for the Sooners in this game. The grand slam back in the 3rd that made it 6-0. And up to that point, Sooners on top 2-0, but since then, offensively, have been pretty quiet, but one swing of the bat by Ella Parker has been the game changer.
I will say it has been pretty quiet in a sense that they haven't scored, but there have been opportunities. They just haven't capitalized on them.
And runners left on base for the Sooners. And this pitch is laced right at Aubrey Evans, who has had a busy night, but man, has she been good. And Lopez works around a leadoff double to send it to the 7th. Last call for the Knights. Their 2nd win here this weekend. 34th on the year, and Isabella Vega getting the start in the circle, and UCF going to the bullpen, using a little bit of everything, trying to keep this game at least in striking distance and go the distance and make it to the 7th inning. Sam Landry got the start for the Sooners and was fantastic. 4 2/3 innings thrown, and takes us to where we are. Ella Parker, 1 for 4, but that one has been the difference maker in this ball game. A grand slam and a 2 RBI double from Isabella Emmerling was all it has taken from the Sooners to make it 6-0, as Lowry making quick work of Aubrey Evans for the first out of the inning. And the Knights, an opportunity going through the heart of their lineup to erase that 0 off the board. UCF, again, just a good team all around and throwing it well and clutch hitting. One thing, if you look and you're just looking stats, 23 and 16 on the season. Of those 16 losses, 7 have been shutouts. So about half of those losses, Nice not able to put a run on the board.
I think in looking at the overall stats on the day, UCF is 3 for 21, OU 11 for 26, but only 8 for 18. Leaving runners on.
And Lowry sits down the dangerous Beth Damon.
Great pitch. I love that location. It's a tough pitch to hit.
Coming in at 67 miles an hour, and the Knights down to their last out. And Lowry, since she's entered this ball game, and I think if you look at pitching for Oklahoma tonight, the word that comes to mind is efficient.
Yeah.
Low pitch counts.
Yeah, I think we talk about what does it take to win ball games, and it's good pitching, good defense. We've seen that. We've seen both of those tonight, but I think the difference is the timely hitting, and it's pitching, clutch hitting, and defense.
Big hack by Izzy Mertes as Lowry is a strike away from picking up the Sooners' 34th win on the year. Having a little bit of conversation here, and you know, when you look at Central Florida and tonight, there's just a lot of 1, 2, 3 innings, and Oklahoma pitchers shining here this evening. The 1-2, swing and a miss. And that's gonna do it. Sooners improve to 34-3 on the year as they take down the University of Central Florida 6-0. And two familiar teams, and Sooners able to really kind of dominate this game start to finish.
Yeah, I thought the Sooners looked great. I think they did a great job in the circle, great job offensively, great job on defense. I will tip my cap to this UCF defense. They performed really